Welcome to Driven by Dreams. Today's guest is Debra Valentina, a soul project catalyst and midwife who has spent over 3 decades empowering women to align with their purpose and bring their biggest dreams to life. With a background in healthcare leadership from UC Berkeley and Stanford, Debra has made a bold pivot from executive roles to founding her own coaching and consulting practice in 1987. Since then, she's helped thousands of women around the world step into their full self expression. She's also the author of 4 books, including an international bestseller. Debra's work is all about living with intention, authenticity, and impact, and I'm so excited to dive into her journey. Hi, Debra. It's great to connect with you today.
It's great to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Well, before we dive into your journey, let's start with something fun. So, I've got a few rapid fire questions. Just say whatever comes to your mind, don't overthink it. So, one
Okay.
word that describes your journey as an entrepreneur,
Joyful.
a book that changed your life,
The Matrix.
soul project you're most proud of,
Speaking at the United Nations.
your favorite place to reconnect with your inner self,
La Jolla Shores.
the biggest myth about being a coach,
That it's easy. Ah,
one dream you haven't pursued yet but still might,
going to Santorini, Greece.
mountains or ocean,
Oceans for sure.
and what's your superpower?
Uh, my deep listening.
Well, thank you so much for playing along, Deborah.
Oh, that was very fun. That was very fun, and it comes quickly when you ask. I like the rapid fire. Yeah.
Well, you've been on your entrepreneurial path for over 35 years. So, what inspired you to leave the healthcare executive world and start your own practice?
I just always knew that I um wanted to be my own boss. I think that sums it up. Like I didn't. I actually often I didn't agree with the executive decisions that were being made above me. And then also, I would say the rigidity, sometimes in the corporate world. Yes, I believe in guidelines but I'm much more outside of the box thinking. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. So, could you share a bit more about your business?
Yes. I first of all, I love my business. The name of it is Creativing, and it's had several names over the years, but Creativing is creative living combined. Um, and it, like I said, it has shifted over the years, and so just kind of a broad stroke. When I first left the corporate world, I was doing healthcare operations consulting and executive coaching for women. And then what I found behind closed doors when I was working with women executives, they really wanted to talk about their whole lives, not just their work lives. And so like I say, I kind of came out of the closet with what I was really doing, which was holistic life coaching. So then labeled myself a holistic life coach. And then most recently, like within the last several years, um, have relabeled myself to be a soul project catalyst and midwife. And sometimes what that includes is women writing their either how-to books or their memoirs. And so I'm a writing coach and a developmental editor, which I love because I am an author myself, and I'm on my writing my 5th book now, and I'm an international best-selling author, which I'm very proud of. So, That's that's just a very broad overview.
Well, that's amazing. You mentioned that you would describe your entrepreneurial journey as joyful. A lot of the people I've spoken to describe it as a roller coaster or an exploration. I'm sure you must have faced some ups and downs too. Despite the downs, it was still amazing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was, some people are born to be entrepreneurs, I believe, and I believe I was born to be an entrepreneur. Some of my friends who've been in um the corporate world, are still in the corporate world, who have a steady gig, if you will. Um, they say, "Oh my God, I could never do what you you do," because for one thing, to stay in business for all these years, you have to market all the time. There's never a time when you're not marketing. So you have to love as I see it, you have to love people and have to enroll them into the services that you have that are of value to them. And I only want to enroll people who really can find value in what I'm offering.
After all these years, how has your audience changed and how has your industry changed as well?
Ah, well, that's a great question. So first of all, as a coach, when I started, and it's actually 38 years ago, there were no programs or certifications for coaching. It was, when you said you're a coach, they thought of little league or professional sports teams. And now it is one of the fastest growing professions in the nation. So, and that continues. So, um, what I would say is it's gone from explaining what a coach is to um, um, having to really differentiate what I have to offer, because there are so many coaches out there. Yeah.
You mentioned your superpower was really listening to people. Yeah, that must take a lot of patience, and that must be a really great feeling when you are able to help someone with that, right?
Absolutely. So the I want to say something about deep listening. To me, deep listening is listening to what and I only work with women, what the women are verbally saying, as well as what's underneath it. Because there's always more to what's verbally being said. Um, and so I would even say that I'm a witness to what they're saying, and a witness with no agenda. So my commitment is to help these women with whatever issue or issues they're dealing with, or more importantly, where they want to go with their lives. um, and so it there's nothing more satisfying than being able to see women blossom, and to see it immediately, like it's immediate gratification, because I can see and feel the light bulbs go on, and then action from the light bulbs. And so I'm, I am deeply satisfied a lot, because my clients, and I have a number of long-term clients who have grown themselves and their businesses through our working together. Yeah.
What advice would you give people, any entrepreneur who wants to read their clients and interpret what they're trying to say beyond what they're saying verbally?
That's such a great question. It's to how I do it is I have developed my intuition in such a way that I can feel what's going on as well as hear what's going on. So I think my number one advice is to develop your intuitive ability, which everyone has. That's my belief. Everyone on the planet has an intuitive ability. It's whether it's tuned into and practiced. Yeah,
Well, thank you for sharing that.
you're welcome.
So, could you walk us through what that process looks like from the moment someone feels a calling to actually taking steps towards making their soul project real?
Ah, oh my goodness. Here's what I would first say. It's different for every person. So I have a tool basket, a very, very large tool basket that I've developed over the years, over the 35 plus years. First I listen to what someone wants to bring forth into the world, and then I assess who they are and what they how they need to grow in order to create what they want to create. And I would say that always, without exception, um, they're here, meaning they're where they are currently, and they have an intention to create their soul project, which is X. And what's in between is inhibiting beliefs. It's not the only thing that's there, but inhibiting beliefs. And I find with women, there's some kind of universal ones in varying degrees, like I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not articulate enough, why me? I mean, there's just a whole bunch of uh, really guck and inhibiting beliefs in the middle. And I am trained to have them discreate those beliefs and create more empowering beliefs. And so that's just one example of the tools, but it's something universal for everyone, because if they didn't have, some inhibiting belief, it would have already manifested.
How do you help someone who doesn't exactly have the clarity on what their soul project is? They don't know their purpose yet. How do you help them find that?
Ah, um, well, one of the ways that I do that, I talked about in intuition a few minutes ago. Um, is that I also believe everyone has a knowingness, a higher self, their intuitive guidance. Those are all names for the same thing. And I have a process where I um, teach these women how to connect to that. And when they have a strong connection with their intuitive guidance, let's just say it's their intuitive guidance, then they will get, um, by asking questions, they will get clarity about what their soul project is. And I never want to guess what their soul project is. tell them what their soul project is. It's really an internal game and happy game, really. And if they tune in, it's there and it's there already. And so I just help women to tune in internally, and they're just like amazed at what will come out. And it's a beautiful I do this with every single client I have for all these years, um, because, I'm not gonna be there all the ti all the time, um, and they have an internal, guidance system, and I want them to be able to tap into that.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome. I'd
Could
love
you
to share that.
could you share an example of someone you worked with who discovered their soul project and how their life or business transformed as a result?
Oh, wow. I've got one that I want to share is a woman that I've worked on and off with for years. And she uh, was a massage therapist, a highly regarded massage therapist in demand, and really her side gig has always been um having women tap into their divine feminine. And so we worked together, and she um, uh, created a really leading edge program around tapping into your divine feminine. And so now she's in the middle of transitioning from being a massage therapist to doing that full time. And the world will be such a better place for her having really doing what she is meant to do. So that's the example that I would use because it's recent, but um, it's the that is, when you talked about superpower, that is one of my superpowers. I am so committed to people, and specifically women, knowing what they came here to do on this planet. And so I want them to find that, and then I can empower them through this, huge basket of tools, help them to really manifest that in the 3D world.
How do you help clients integrate their soul project into an actual business model that's sustainable? I know you mentioned that your client went from a massage therapist to starting her own program. So how did you make sure that was sustainable?
Um, that's why she's still in transition. I never want anyone to, not know where their rent is coming where their rent is coming from. And so she's building, just as an example, she's building momentum with her program as she's decreasing the amount of time she's a massage therapist. So um uh there the practical thing is we look at the budget. How much does she need to make a month? Um, what is she making now? What is their, what are the projections? All of that practical stuff gets done. Yeah.
What advice would you give to teens who don't have much clarity on what they want to do, or they're feeling the pressure to do something that would be a high paying job? What advice would you give?
Ah, first thing I would say is it's okay to not know. Um, I know there's more pressure than when I was younger to know what you're gonna do, what's your career, how much money are you gonna make, all of that. It's outer imposed and self-imposed, but both, I believe. Um, So it's okay to not know, is the first thing I would say. And, um, I think that with that, it's okay to explore. So, um, you can try things out, again, when I was younger, you, you picked one thing and then you did that for a million years. Um, I'm a little exaggeration, but you did it for your career. Um, I can't remember what the latest statistic is, but it's like every few years, um, uh, your generation is changing jobs, and I think that's exciting. And then as you explore for instance, if you as you explore what you don't want, you'll discover what you do want.
Yeah, that did. Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
I know with this podcast, I've interviewed a lot of people from different industries. And while it helps me gain more insight, I still haven't really narrowed it down to what I want to do in the future. And so that was really helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, and it's perfectly okay not to narrow it down. And the other thing that's coming to mind is something that I will share regarding my life. So I was trained as a healthcare executive, um, from Berkeley and Stanford, so highly trained, and did that, prior to becoming an entrepreneur. I was with the Kaiser healthcare system and the Travelers Health Network system, and was very competent. I was, yeah, just very competent at what I did. And even though I was so competent at it, it was not my passion. And so I am so glad that that in my early 30s, I was courageous enough, is what I would say, to make the leap to be an entrepreneur, because that's really what I feel like I was meant to be. And so um, it takes courage to make the distinction between what you're competent at and what you're really passionate about, because that's not always the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You've written 4 books and become an international best-selling author, right? So what drove you to write? And how did that experience deepen your purpose?
Another great question. Anishka, you are asking great questions. So I have been writing since the second grade. So I was first published in the seventh grade and was very proud of that.
That's a really early age to be published. Wow, that's amazing.
Yes. And so, um, it's just one of those things I did know. And I started writing because, I wanted to express my feelings. And so that's really the kind of writing that I started. And then all my books, are around, um, full self-expression, and tips on how to do that. And so I've written 3 how-to books and 1 memoir, which is also kind of a kind of how-to book as well. Um, but it feeds into what I believe I came here to do, which is to empower women to be fully self-expressed. And so, all of my writing is about that, and all my coaching is about that.
Well, that's amazing, Deborah. It was great having you here, and I learned a lot from your journey. So before we wrap this up, do you have any final words of wisdom?
Ah, yes, be true to your authentic voice. Find your authentic voice and be true to it. That's what I would, those would be my final words.
Well, thank you so much, Deborah, for being here and sharing your incredible story.
You're welcome. It was really fun and you are a great interviewer, so keep doing it.
Thank you.